Years ago, Burger King aired an ad poking fun at McDonald's. In the ad, Ronald McDonald sneaked to Burger King to buy a burger, implying McDonald's food isn't tasty. McDonald's quickly hit back with an ad showing a group of boys always stealing a blonde boy's McDonald's food. The clever blonde boy hides his food in a Burger King bag, and no one steals it anymore, implying no one likes Burger King. Then McDonald's put up a billboard with two signs. One said McDonald's straight ahead 5 kilometers, and the other said Burger King 258 kilometers away, suggesting McDonald's is everywhere and Burger King is hard to find. Burger King responded quickly. They added to the ad showing a couple buying large coffees at McDonald's to stay awake for the 258-kilometer drive to Burger King, thanking McDonald's for helping them get to delicious Burger King food.
Hey loungers, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mason T, and on Fridays we like to do something a little bit more casual as we wrap up the work week. So for today's main story, we're going to be talking about KitchenAid stand mixers. You guys probably already know what that is. Now I will reveal exactly why I brought up this topic at the end of the episode. However, I really want to share this story with you guys. It's very cute, it's very sweet, and there's a lot of things to know.
This is a KitchenAid stand mixer. The Artisan Series 5-quart tilt-head stand mixer, to be exact. It's iconic.
That mid-century design is just, it's sleek, it's beautiful, it's like sensual and its softness, and it hasn't changed in years.
I love those vintage machines. They are just, they're workhorses. They're amazing.
Doesn't this guy look like Pablo Pascal and Bam Margera had a kid?
Amazing.
My KitchenAid and I are best friends at this point.
Yes, it is more expensive, but it is the last
This is the
you
way.
will ever buy.
Runaway sensations The Great British Bake Off and Nailed It have gotten millennials pumped about baking, not to mention the pandemic-induced baking boom. But America's love affair with the KitchenAid stand mixer is much deeper than that. The KitchenAid is the go-to for professionals and home cooks alike. From Julia Child, Martha Stewart, and Molly Yeh to America's Test Kitchen and Duff Goldman, it seems everyone uses a KitchenAid. Here's how the KitchenAid mixer took over America's counter space. This is Suddenly Obsessed. All in, the US mixer market brought in just shy of $1 billion in 2020. KitchenAid is responsible for about 28% of that revenue. Whirlpool has sold over 31 million KitchenAid mixers since 2008, which means it's producing over 2.5 million mixers annually out of its 476,200 square foot facility in Greenville, Ohio. KitchenAid has been helping bakers mix their ingredients for over a century. In 1914, the Hobart Manufacturing Company introduced the model A80, an 80-quart commercial bakery mixing machine. The name KitchenAid was coined by the wife of an executive on the team. In 1919, it created a smaller 5-quart version called the H5, intended for at-home use. But let's just say the design was heavy and clunky. So in 1937, the company hired an outside designer to revamp its mixer. The Model K was born. In 1955, the company introduced 5 colors and became a mainstay in American kitchens. In 1986, Whirlpool Corporation bought KitchenAid for a reported $150 million. That would be over $356 million today. Prices range from $199 for the miniature version, $220 for its base tilt-head model, to over $1,000 for the top-of-the-line bowl lift model.
They are probably the most trustworthy, sturdy machines on the market at that price point.
Throughout the decades, plenty of other stand mixers hit the market, but there are 2 reasons KitchenAid became a household name. First is the way the KitchenAid mixer uses planetary motion to fold in the ingredients.
This is very important.
Planetary motion means it runs in 2 orbital operating directions. The head spins one way, and the tool spins the other way. This helps both whip and fold the ingredients. An engineer for the company put this in an email. If you were just to spin the beaters in one direction, you only stirred the mix. The second reason for its lasting appeal is durability. KitchenAid fanatic and repairman Mr. Mixer says with proper care, your KitchenAid can outlive you.
It's a machine. They need to be tended to, taken care of. You know, they're expensive, and to just have them serviced every couple of years is is one way to make sure that they run indefinitely. Old Faithful, that's what I would call them, you know. It's a household name like, you know, the Ford pickup.
The average age of a stand mixer in a US household is somewhere between 6 and 10 years old. That's ancient by today's appliance standard. Other than adding new colors, the KitchenAid is essentially the same today as it was in 1969. Even the attachments from those older models fit today's machines.
So the reason why I bring this up is because I want people to see that, like, you know, these things are not just built to last, but the idea is that you have one item, one focus, and you could build something iconic, right? Something that stands the test of time. And that's what's really important, you know? It has made money, you know, all the way back into the 1950s and stuff. And it's pretty much still the same retro style it is today.
The company replaced one internal metal component with a Kevlar reinforced design in 1997. But even that was met with praise. KitchenAid says the Kevlar reinforced gear is engineered to improve internal durability. Lainey Townsend, who's been fixing mixers for 4 years, says this.
What it does is if you're overloading your motor on your KitchenAid, it will deliberately break. So you save your motor. It doesn't push through like a metal one will.
To
That's
say
smart,
KitchenAid
right?
has built a strong fan base is a bit of an understatement.
My relationship with KitchenAid is honestly pretty deep.
She and I are definitely in a committed relationship. My KitchenAid and I are best friends at this point.
I have at least 30, probably closer to 40, but that number is constantly changing.
Dan Valenti,
one that said
vice president
Rolex
of
on it.
KitchenAid Small Appliances, says he was taken by surprise by the deep connection people have with the kitchen appliance when he joined the team 7 years ago.
I couldn't understand the passion and just the pure love and joy that consumers get out of the KitchenAid stand mixer. They tattoo the stand mixer to their bodies.
Some folks will even pay to get their mixers custom painted. The long lifespan of a KitchenAid mixer is one reason for that deep emotional connection. The longer a KitchenAid is in someone's home, the more memories are tied to it.
It's one of the more popular hand-me-down gifts. Think of products that you actually desire to have a hand-me-down, a used stand mixer within your family. They pass from generation to generation.
The KitchenAid mixer has also become a sort of rite of passage into adulthood.
Have you guys ever kneaded dough before? I can't stand kneading dough. Of course, I love making baked goods, but kneading dough, I really can't stand that because, you know, it just goes on for so long and it's just so tiring to do, you know? Like I'm 6'2", like, you know, over 200 pounds. And I have a hell of a time, like applying that much pressure, like over and over again, not knowing like, you know, am I done kneading the dough or not?
I, like most people, grew up with that iconic white KitchenAid on the kitchen counter in my home. To me, it always really symbolized a stepping up or like a leveling up in both like culinary skill and also life goals.
While KitchenAid mixers make great wedding gifts and housewarming presents, many entrepreneurial bakers have built profitable businesses around them.
Here's why I brought it up.
After receiving her KitchenAid as a Christmas gift 5 years ago, Emily Nejad opened a bakery called Bon Vivant Cakes in Chicago.
KitchenAid literally gave me my career. You know, it like set me on a different trajectory. I didn't even know that I wanted to do it. I didn't even know that I was good at it. It gave me the tools to envision a whole new, wonderful life for myself.
After upgrading from a hand mixer to a KitchenAid stand mixer this summer, Lisa Gray was able to expand her baking operation, Little Gray Bakery in New York City.
At this point, I am sold out for my December cookies, so I have 20 to 30 orders per week for the next 3 weeks. So just me and this KitchenAid are making about 300 cookies every 3 days in order to fulfill the amount of orders that I have. She has been getting a major workout. This KitchenAid has been going 24/7, 3 times a day, 3 times a week.
I don't think that math is quite right. How do you go 24 hours 3 times a day?
Had such a boost from just the COVID demand. Small appliances overall typically grows at a couple points per year. So the jump in the category is sizable.
As the pandemic forced us all indoors, folks are turning to homemade baked goods like sourdough bread and cookies for comfort and to kill time. And with millions of recipes and tutorials on YouTube, anyone can bake, regardless of skill.
I'm a self-taught baker. I have no formal training. I went to YouTube University and just taught myself everything that I know.
Right. So this is exactly why I'm showing you guys this video, right? It is about the inspiration of this person just learned everything that they needed to learn specifically on YouTube. And I wanted you to guys see her story. And, you know, even though the whole idea of this video was supposed to be based on the KitchenAid stand mixer, but what's more important is that people are starting businesses around it, from Julia Child to Martha Stewart to this lady over here and another lady who bakes cookies in New York City. You guys know how expensive it is to live in New York City.
And without that KitchenAid mixer, like that was it. Like that was the whole first step for me.
There are cheaper stand mixers out there, but few, if any, have as a devoted following as KitchenAid.
Right. So while the product is still very good, let's come back up to the top. The idea, right, is that ultimately they could have done, you know, the hand mixer or like some other type of stand mixer and still achieved the same kind of results. What's important for us to understand is that ultimately this lady had no formal training whatsoever, right? And we use the slang term YouTube University, basically explaining that like everything that you need to know these days, you could basically find on YouTube. So what does this really boil down to is that there's nothing to it but to do it. Last Sunday, we did level 2 of specifically talking about, you know, the different levels of e-commerce that's out there. And we covered homemade goods and stuff. And in homemade goods, it could be like baked goods and things like this. But again, I have to add in the fact that, you know, how you have to check with your local state's cottage food laws in order to make this legit. But still, the point is, right, it boils down to a lot of things in business is that there's nothing to it but to do it. All right, guys, we're going to play our weekly game of to buy or not to buy. I've read all of your comments and most of them were actually very, very insightful. So I encourage you all to play this game because the more people who join into comments, you get a better gauge of what everybody's sense of buying stuff is and how people feel about new inventions and innovations that occur in our marketplaces. So let's go through the last 3 items that we went through. Okay, so it was the crash symbol, and I'm going to reveal my actual notes over here, is that despite this video having 2.3 million views, it actually only sold about 42 times. So this was actually a terrible purchase, okay? And then the next one is the ice cream ball. The ice cream ball had over 500,000 views, and ultimately it sold 2 units. So I really like to mix it up and, you know, try to throw you guys off. Now, ultimately, I do think that all of these items are really, really cool items, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like I would buy it or other people would buy it. And one of the biggest issues about the ice cream ball is that like, ultimately, do we really want to be eating out of something that we're just kicking around on the ground after a while, you know? Okay. And then finally, the third item was the hanger that clips onto itself. Now that one had like over 6 million views, and you know what? It actually did pretty decent. That one sold over 3,500 times. So all of you guys who said that, you know, even though I might not buy this for myself, but I could totally see this item selling, you guys were absolutely correct. And the first 2 were actually kind of duds. All right, so now we're going to get into our 3 items for this week. And for those of you who are new here, how you play the game is like this. You're going to give 1 of 4 answers, A, B, C, or D, as well as why you left that answer into the comment section. So A would be like, I wouldn't buy this item, and I don't think anybody else is buying this item either. B would be, I would buy this item, but I'm not too sure if anybody else would. C would be, I wouldn't buy this item, but I totally see other people getting it as well. And D would be, I would buy this item, and I think other people would buy this item as well. So, you guys ready? Let's get into our first item.
Sometimes you don't want to ruin your pocket knife, you just want a good utility blade. These here are replaceable. You just push up here, see it sliding out, locks in place. It's a button lock. Once it's closed, it will not open. You don't have to worry about it opening in your pocket. You can physically push the button to open it, push the button to close it. You can push it, start rolling it open with your other fingers and do that. Or look, you saw in the beginning, just whip it out, whip it closed.
It's got a belt clip too.
Deep carry pocket clip, and these actually come and a pack of 3. Extremely budget friendly. And if you don't want the all silver, they got some funky color options too. Check it out. These are really cool. I'll have the link below.
In Spanish, this is only for me. Okay, this one I thought was super cool.
I was super skeptical when I first got this. Without a doubt, this is one of the coolest things you could add to your toolbox this year. This is a 15-inch offset extension. Put an impact driver or ratchet on one end, work on a hard-to-reach bolt from 15 inches away. It takes the exact same amount of effort to run a ratchet as it does running it through this. This thing's chain-driven. When you put it onto something and go to break it loose, it's the exact same thing. This comes with a bunch of different adapters. It's 3/8 to quarter, 3/8 to 3/8, 3/8 to half. Also has a 1/4 inch to driver bit adapter. I wish I had one of these when I was working on my water pump last. If you want to grab one of these for your toolbox, I'll pin it down below for you.
All right, guys, so that was to buy or not to buy. And next week, I will be revealing exactly how well those 3 items actually sell on the marketplace. This way, you have a good gauge of exactly how keen your eye is when trying to select good items for sale. And to recap for our main story, it is all about there's nothing to it but to do it. Let their story be an inspiration for you guys, that these are 2 ladies who did nothing but start off with a stand mixer and just watch a whole bunch of YouTube stuff, okay? Because they specifically said that they have no formal training whatsoever, yet they're able to start businesses that are even featured on shows like CNBC. Anyways, guys, that is the video. If you had fun this week, please give it a big like. And if you learned something, please consider subscribing. And also, to wrap up the week for Mother's Day, I'd like to leave you guys with this video. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.